Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is something even the Dodgers clubhouse didn't see coming. It started the moment Kiké Hernández walked out of Dodger Stadium with his locker emptied, his nameplate gone, and a silence hanging behind him like a storm waiting to break. Reporters expected anger, frustration, maybe even tears. But instead, something else happened. Something far stranger. Because the man who once joked, danced, and lifted the locker room with his wild energy suddenly changed. His smile was gone, his voice quiet, and in the middle of that heavy silence, he whispered a message, one he said was meant only for Shohei Ohtani. For a moment, even the journalists froze. Kiké didn't look like someone being released. He looked like someone who knew something others didn't, something bigger than baseball, bigger than contracts, bigger than the Dodgers' plans. The cameras kept rolling, but Kiké didn't care. His eyes were fixed on one person, even though that person wasn't in the room. And when he finally spoke, his words struck harder than any headline. He said, Shohei deserves to know the truth. Nobody knew what truth he meant. Not the front office. Not the players. Certainly not the stunned fans refreshing their feeds in disbelief. But the way he said it, calm, steady, almost ominous, made everyone lean in a little closer. Just hours earlier, Kiké had been laughing during warm-ups, tossing jokes around as if nothing was wrong. But insiders claim that in the instant he was called into the office, something shifted. Teammates described his expression as unusually calm. Coaches said he didn't argue, didn't question, didn't even blink. It was as if the decision didn't surprise him at all. But the shock came afterward, when he walked straight to Ohtani's locker, stood there alone, and whispered something only a few feet from where Shohei would soon return. Some say it was gratitude. Some say it was an apology. But others believe it was a warning. Because Kiké's relationship with Ohtani was always different. Beneath the jokes and smiles, there was a strange, quiet respect. Not the kind you see between regular teammates, but something deeper, like two players who understood what it meant to carry pressure the world couldn't see. And that's why his message carried weight. Rumors began swirling instantly. Did Kiké know about upcoming roster changes? Did he feel the Dodgers were shifting their identity? Was he protecting Ohtani from something? Or was he simply letting go of a chapter that meant more to him than people realized? The clubhouse staff watched him closely. He didn't lash out. He didn't blame anyone. Instead, he walked through every hallway as if he were saying goodbye not to a team, but to a version of himself. Then came the moment that truly stunned everyone. Kiké left the stadium, but halfway to the parking lot, he stopped, turned around, and stared at the building like a man wrestling with a decision. His phone buzzed in his hand, once, twice, 3 times, before he finally answered. Witnesses say his expression changed instantly. His posture straightened. His jaw tightened. And he said just one thing. Tell Shohei I'm ready. No one knew what that meant. Ready for what? A comeback. A confession. A new team. A message. The mystery only grew stronger when Ohtani, hours later, arrived at the stadium earlier than expected, his face unusually serious. People asked him if he'd heard from Kiké. He didn't answer. He didn't even look up. He simply adjusted his bag and walked inside. Something had shifted between them. Something unspoken. Some speculate that Kiké warned Shohei about the politics inside the clubhouse. Others believe he passed on information about future roster cuts. But insiders close to the team swear it was more personal, something only 2 players who've shared pressure, friendship, and expectations could understand. As the news spread, fans reacted with shock. How could the Dodgers release a player who was practically the heartbeat of the dugout? The energy, the laughter, the glue. And why did Kiké take it so calmly? More importantly, why did he mention Shohei's name? Even rival players admitted privately that Kiké's departure felt different. Like a thread being pulled from a tightly woven fabric, leaving the entire picture weaker, looser, uncertain. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Hours after leaving the stadium, Kiké posted something cryptic, something raw, something full of meaning. Just a few words. No hashtags. No emojis. For those who matter, you already know. Fans immediately flooded the comments. Was he talking about Shohei? Was there something else happening behind the scenes? Was this the beginning of a bigger story? Sports talk shows spent the next 24 hours dissecting his every word. Analysts debated whether his attitude change meant he had known for weeks. Others said the Dodgers were shifting to a more serious, business-like environment that didn't fit Kiké's personality anymore. But one thing everyone agreed on. You don't mention Shohei's name casually. Not in this era, not in this team, and certainly not on the day you're released. It meant something. And Ohtani's silence meant even more. Because the next day, he walked into the stadium with a look that teammates described as unusually emotional. He shook hands differently. He spoke quietly. And before batting practice, he went to the exact same spot where Kiké had stood, and touched the locker lightly, almost like a silent gesture of respect. It was small, but powerful, like saying goodbye without speaking a word. People around the league watched closely. Would Ohtani comment? Would he reveal the message? Would he acknowledge the moment? But Shohei stayed silent, letting the world speculate. Yet one thing became unmistakably clear: the bond between them, whatever it was, had changed something inside him. His focus sharpened. His intensity grew. His leadership stepped forward in a way even Dodgers insiders hadn't seen before. Some believe Crowe's release fueled Ohtani to protect the team's chemistry. Others believe it gave him clarity about the pressures inside the organization. And a few whisper that Kiké's message was a promise, one that Shohei intends to honor. Because days later, Ohtani spoke 9 quiet words that stunned everyone. Some departures remind you why you must keep going. No explanation, no elaboration, but the meaning hit like a thunderstorm. Kiké's release wasn't just a contract decision. It was a spark, a shift, a moment that reshaped the emotional heartbeat of the Dodgers. And whether fans realize it or not, that moment may define the team's future. Because some players leave statistics behind. Others leave memories. But a few, very few, leave a message that echoes long after they're gone. And Kiké Hernández left a message for the one player the world is watching. A message Shohei Ohtani heard and will never forget.